Hey, true believers, Chris Mack coming at you with The Death of Doctor Strange. I went into this series having zero expectations. I remember when I called in my comic shop, said, do you want to put The Death of Doctor Strange on your pull list? I think I left the guy hanging on the phone for probably about a good minute or two, just thinking, like, oh God, another death. Just whoop-de-frickin-do. But I just said, okay, you know what? I'll give it a chance, go for it. And I gotta say, at least this first issue was pretty damn good. I'm not a big fan of this variant edition of the cover. I think this looks kind of lazy. I mean, if it was for something else, sure, but I've seen the regular A covers for Doctor Strange and really blows us out of the water. This is just a little too surreal for, I don't know. Maybe it works, maybe it does. I just don't like it. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Anyway, before we dive into this, let's talk about who made this book. This is Jed MacKay writer, Lee Garbett doing the art, Antonio Sabella doing the colors, VC's Corey Petit lettering. Here's everyone else working on the book. And Doctor Strange was created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. And this is called The Strange Day. Now, we always have that third-person narrative. This is inside Doctor Strange's head. And he's talking about this character called Koschei, I think is how you pronounce it, K-O-S-C-H-E-I, the Deathless. I've always been fascinated with him. And I kind of like how it opens up and Strange is just kind of wiped, and you can kind of see he's had a long day. The room is in disarray. And someone's calling for him, which is Bats, his spiritual dog, which I don't mind Bats too much, but again, it's always in who's writing him. I think the only part, like when I first read it, that sort of turned me off is he said, come on, Steven, it's time for walkies. But once you can kind of get off of that and understand the type of relationship, because that's what the first half of this book does, character development. So you see the type of relationship he has with Bats, where Bats is talking about, let's go for a walk, and Doctor Strange is like, you don't need a walk, you're dead. He's like, with my, when I was alive, if my original owner would have walked me more, I wouldn't have died so soon. These walks are for you. So it shows that this dog actually cares about his master. And anyway, going back to the Koschei moment, he's talking about how the reason he was a deathless is because he took his soul and hid it in a needle. He hid this needle in an egg, and the egg in a duck, and the duck in a rabbit, and the rabbit in a chest. And he hid that chest somewhere deep and dark where no one might find it. So what I like is why he's talking about what this guy did and how he's kind of infatuated with this historical mythological person. He's looking back at his life. I cannot remember her name, but this was a woman that he loved that passed, and I think she had a really big role in Damnation, which we'll go over eventually. Damnation was relatively good for its time. And then we see his relationship with Wong. And what I like here is you kind of start to see Steven seeming to become a whole, well-rounded person. He says, the story of Koschei stuck with me. The story of how I ceased to be a surgeon, the obsession with money, status, fame, and the accident as well. All those points are known. But none of that mattered to me when I began my path in medicine initially. No, my motivations then, well, some of that came from Koschei. I wanted to cheat death. There was an element of arrogance there, certainly. A human life held in your hands, and I had such hands. And what I like here is, I don't know what issue it is, let me know what it is, but it's nice to see that Steven actually got his hands back, so it shows him actually being able to be both the Sorcerer Supreme and a surgeon, which was his first craft. He says, recent events have returned those hands to me, and I've returned to surgery, my first love, my first art. And after he saves this human's life, he's talking about how he's like, I set aside my exhilaration, my ego. Magic taught me one lesson medicine never did. Humility. A life was saved today, but I have other patients. So you see him go from the OR to switch and quickly into Doctor Strange. I am the Sorcerer Supreme. The world is my patient. And we have this really great moment where this character, he's screaming in agony, and you see all of this energy being released from him. And the cops are not sure what to do. And one of them's just like, oh, well, look who it is. I'll handle this. We're handling this. This is kind of his field. Please, this man isn't malicious. He is in crisis. He doesn't need a bullet. He needs a doctor. So there's kind of this suspenseful moment, and it works the way the dialogue works between these two characters. And you're thinking, oh, what does it matter? As you read it, you start to see certain plot points that begin to run into each other as the story progresses. Because after he's done surgery for the day, after saved a man on the streets of Manhattan, now he's at the Strange Academy teaching about the burden and responsibility of being Sorcerer Supreme. And he goes, my tenure in this position will not last forever. The Vishanti will call for another test in due time. And at the end, it may not be Stephen Strange who's left standing. Or more simply, one of my many enemies may just kill me. And he's saying, I'm telling you this because the next Sorcerer Supreme could be in this classroom. So I like how it shows, Stephen's able to handle all of these responsibilities and do it with a sense of humility that he didn't have in the beginning. That shows how far his character has come over, the decades since he was first created, where he was a cocky little prick to where he's now older, wiser. He's taken Ileana under his wing, which we get a moment with her, which is kind of cute. I always love when Ileana is part of this. I guess she's now the Sorcerer Supreme of Limbo, which, if you guys know what issue that happened in, let me know, because anything X-Men related always gets me pumped. The only thing that I will say that kind of chapped my ass is all these demons are from Limbo, and they're attacking the Strange Academy. And Ileana's just like, as a Sorcerer Supreme of Limbo, this is extremely embarrassing. I work here, you horrible creatures. And I like how Stephen, trying to be calm, assess the situation, and kind of shows the two different sides. The pupil, hot-headed and quick, knee-jerk reactions, cool and collected, the master. And he goes, you really must keep your house in order, my dear. Which is fair, because, these two have worked together a lot. That's what I think was the main plot point that I really enjoyed about Extraordinary X-Men, which if you've not read it, it's decent, but the parts that really resonate are both in Bendis's, I know I said that, Bendis's Uncanny X-Men and Extraordinary, where she's teaching or learning under Stephen Strange. And so, him for to say, you really must keep your house in order, my dear, they have that rapport. And so for me right here, this was very out of character for Ileana. She goes, I'm no one's dear. She's hot-headed, but I can never really see her saying that to Stephen through all the experiences that they've had. So that just kind of bugged me. Anyway. So the story, it really is just for me, as a character-driven piece. He goes, I number many magicians among my acquaintances, but none have my responsibilities, whether with my once again dexterous hands, or my always dexterous mind, or the mighty magics at my disposal. My work never ends. My responsibilities never end. My life gives me gifts every day. I have met incredible and unique people from across every known universe, made friends, companions, lovers. But I have also lost them. So I like after you've seen him, do all these things in one day, like, the Sorcerer Supreme's work's never done. You see him exhausted. And just when you think he can relax, there's a knock at the door. And he just says, Doctor Strange's nerves tired. Doctor Strange is never rumpled. And so he goes to see who's at the door. Something happens. I don't want to give it away. And right here, I felt like if they would have left it off, like, a couple pages after this, it would have been an interesting ending. But it keeps going on, and you're thinking, oh, God, why are we doing this? But it does give an endearing moment of how his friends read Dr. Voodoo, I can't remember the girl's name, but how they all come to Stephen when he needs them to show that they are true friends and not just fickle like a lot of people can be these days. And with that said, make sure you pay attention to the whole Koshai, or however you pronounce it. Make sure you pay attention to that, because something happens when you see this foot enter out of this portal and says, Zounds. So I really appreciate that this was a very, like a character study on Doctor Strange, where he started, where he is now, what's happening with him now in this series. I was very surprised. I was waiting for this to be another LOL, so random, ha ha ha, joke, joke, joke. For the most part, too, the artwork was relatively good. There are a few parts where I felt like, this is supposed to be kind of like a big event book. And you look at some of the characters and they just look so damn stock. I mean, when they're just doing the panel, I'm sure they had to rush this, but I mean, look at the head, the lack of detail. I mean, at least for the first and last issues of The Death of Wolverine, they made sure that those books looked amazing. Issues, I think it was 2 and 3, looked horrific. But I just kind of feel like they would have learned from that and not just made this look like a regular rushed, day-to-day grind singles. But that's just my personal opinion. I feel like we're going to do a big story, especially the death of Doctor Strange. A death of any big character, or the wedding of any big character, or a character leaving or joining a team, that you at least get a big talent name on there, like Adam Kubert, or I'm going to slaughter his name, but I love his artwork, Victor Bogdanovich, I think is how I pronounce it. I love his work. Or hell, even like an Alex Ross or something, just something different instead of the everyday look that you would see in any other comic book. That's just my personal opinion, though. Overall, the story, spot on. I'm enjoying where this is going, especially the surprise you get at the end. Because you're thinking, oh, this is going to be some sort of stupid Deus Ex Machina. And in a sense it is, but also at the same time, I like where they're going. I think instead of completely killing them off, I feel like this is Marvel's kind of soft reboot. Why they want to reboot them? God only knows, but it is what it is. At least enjoy the story and roll with it. I can't wait to jump into issue 2. If you guys have enjoyed what you've read, please first and foremost support your local comic shop and pick up a copy. If you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that fancy little Eye of Amagatu bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel, and we love chatting with y'all, hearing your feedback, and talking with y'all down in the comments below, or our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, thank you so much for stopping by. Hope y'all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.